Hello, hello. How is everybody doing today or this evening? Happy Saturday evening to everybody. Let's see. We have Stitch two in a row, maybe two in ein. I don't know what that means. We have three Ducky. Yes, we have Ducky. Burgundy, yo, what's good, Bali Unc? Remy, hello, goat. Again, don't know who you're talking to, Remy, but I'm glad that you're here. Whoa, what's with the snake? So I have been asked on the server a couple of times when the next Ducky stream was going to be because I have had Ducky on stream once before, and people seem to enjoy it. So my granddaughter is staying the weekend or staying the evening with us this weekend, and had me pull Ducky out because she wanted to see Ducky. So I figured, seeing as how I had Ducky out, I would see if anybody on the Discord server wanted me to do a Ducky stream. To which I got confirmation that they did. I uh, so yeah, I'm doing the live stream with Ducky. So it's not really a flipping stream this time around. It's just a stream so everybody gets the chance to see Ducky and you know, see a snake and ask any questions that they may have. You, the goat, big dog. Let's agree to disagree. But thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. Um, yeah. So, Ducky. This is Ducky. Ducky, so everyone is aware, is a boa constrictor. Because Ducky is a girl, she is a sun glow, which means that she is both albino and I think it's hypomelanistic, which is a type of albinism. So she's like double albino, which means that the what would be darker is now yellow, and what would be even darker than that are these orange. I'm trying to go to the wrong arm. These orange spots. Um, would be like the darkest part of her, and the yellow would be like a brown. This would be like almost a blackish color. And yeah, because she's like double albino, she's all yellow and orange. But the morph is called a sun glow. Skull Flipper, what is going on, my friend? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Saturday evening. And may I introduce Ducky? Um, yeah, but Ducky is a well, a very large wiggle worm. What do you usually feed her? So she eats large rats. We do not live feed, so she eats. I go to the local um, pet store and get frozen rats, and then we thaw them, usually for a couple hours in water until it's thawed, no longer frozen, and then she gobbles them right up. But despite her size, she actually only eats once every 2 or 3 weeks, and sometimes even then, she may not decide that she's hungry. So that's really the cool thing about snakes is the fact that I mean, they don't eat like, I have a crested gecko that has to eat every single day. Bearded dragon, I have had one of those in the past. They, have to have a, salad and, insects. Dubia roaches usually is what I fed mine, or crickets or something like that. But they have to eat every day. Snakes do not. Smaller snakes tend to eat more frequently. Larger snakes um, less frequently. So we had some ball pythons a while back. They would tend to eat about once a week. Sometimes it would skip a week or skip a couple weeks, all depending. there have been people who have talked about, their snakes going on like 6 month fasts where they just, you offer them food, but they don't take the food. Ducky, being the size that she's at, can usually eat every other week, but sometimes, like I said, she'll go, 3 weeks. The longest I think that she has gone is she has turned down food for 2 months straight before. But it's unlike a dog or a cat or something like that where you really have to worry about, okay, who's going to take care of this while I go on vacation. A snake, so long as they have, the water, the misting, so the humidity that they need, um, so long as that is topped off, food wise, you don't really have to worry about, who's going to feed my snake and thaw, this frozen rat in the freezer, and who's going to do all of that. You don't have to worry about that so long as you're not going on vacation for more than 2 weeks. Do I take Ducky for walks? I don't. There may have been a time or two where I have like gone out onto my back porch with Ducky, but no. Typically she stays inside. Doesn't really have any interest in the outside. And as she's going across me, you can kind of see on her side profile, it's kind of upside down now. But these kind of look like those. I don't know, when I was trying to figure out a name for her and she was slithering past me, and I saw these patterns on her side. They actually, and it's upside down right now, so you can't really see it, but they actually looked like ducks in the water. Not so much here, but more towards her head. So like this right here kind of looks like an upside down duck, or this right here. So that's actually where she got her name Ducky from. Is she looked like she had um, a bunch of geometric ducks uh, on her side. It was pretty neat. I take my fish on walks. That's interesting, Mel. I'm curious how it is that you do that. I'm not doubting you though. Thank you and Gibby for putting me onto Break-Ins. Just listen to the whole Hypochondriac album. Good, right? The funny thing is, every single time I am listening to that album and I'm flipping, my flipping is completely thrown off when it transitions from the first song into the second song. So the start of Caffeine, and the energy that is in that song just completely throws me off because I think that I'm in a flipping groove, and then Caffeine starts and it's like, no, I can't flip that fast. But cool. I'm glad to hear that you liked it. Do snakes need exercise or do they just chill? Yeah, for the most part, they just chill. I mean, they don't have, it's not like a hamster where you have to put a wheel or anything in there for them to move around. In all honesty, during the day, for the most part, she doesn't move around at all. Usually, the only time I see her out of her hide is what you call where they usually do their, well, hiding. So like that half log that's in there right there, that is a hide, though it's too small for her. She just kind of slithers through that. But she has a larger tortoise shell looking rock that she usually balls up inside, and that's where she's at. I would say, if I had to guess, I would say 95% of the time. The only time usually that I see her out and about, I usually don't ever see her like slithering out and about. Like she doesn't do laps in the um, enclosure. But I will find her stretched out in the enclosure from time to time. But that's usually um, if I'm coming into my office in the evening when all of the lights have been out. Um, and I come in and I turn on the lights, she might be stretched out or she might be like getting a drink of water. Sometimes, and it's been a while since I've caught her doing it, but sometimes she'll be balled up or coiled up in her water bowl, just to kind of soak. So that's the closest to recreation that she actually gets, other than eating, is just soaking up. or soaking in the water dish. How long is Ducky? So I haven't officially measured her in a while, but I think she's probably close to 7 feet at this point. If she's not 7 feet, she's really close to it. So, but this is probably as long and as thick and big as she's going to get. I mean, technically speaking, she could get bigger, but it's not likely. Um, and Yeah, I mean, if I like hyper fed her, like if I tried to feed her, every week, she would probably bulk up in that way. But one of the common as far as I've been informed, one of the common causes of like an early death of a snake is overfeeding, because some like breeders uh, may overfeed a snake to bulk them up because people may want a larger, beefier looking snake because it looks cool. But the downside is, that kind of feeding regimen where they're eating like once a week for a larger snake like this is actually going to lessen their lifespan. So one of the neat things about like Ducky, for example, she's probably going to end up living a solid, you know, 30 years. So they have a really, really long lifespan. And Remy says, how much does she weigh? I don't know. I haven't weighed her probably ever. I mean, not very heavy. I mean, she's not she doesn't like, make my arm sore when I'm holding her or make my back ache when, she's kind of over me like this. Uh she's kind of hiding right now though. 30 years is insane. That's incredible. Yeah, it's definitely one of those pets that, any type of snake is definitely a pet that you don't want to, get into with the thought of, oh yeah, that's really cool. I'm going to get it and not do your homework because after doing your homework, you realize that, oh no, this is a commitment. It's kind of like getting a tortoise. Like some people may get a baby tortoise because they're small and they're cute, but the tortoise is going to live longer than you do, if it's well taken care of and it doesn't have any, just issues that may come naturally. So that isn't to say if any of you ever get a tortoise and it ends up dying that you did something wrong. It might not be the case, but it could outlive you. And yeah, so you definitely don't want to get into one of those types of pet owner arrangements where you don't really have a game plan of, okay, how am I going to take care of this? Not for the next, week, 2 weeks, couple months. How am I going to take care of this for the next couple of decades? And Shroom is in the house and says, quack. Hi, Shroom. How are you? Ducky says hi. If the pit viper wins the create with Nibalis, you should get it. True. Very, very true. However, I will admit that I am low key gunning for a different one to win. Nothing against the pit viper, but the creator that made the Lifrix canvas actually is one of the designers of one of the top three. So you have the Harvest, the Pit Viper, and then the third one, which I can't remember the name of. But that one is designed by the person that made the Lifrix canvas. And I am low key hoping that that one wins because I really like what Lifrix does. And Jax is here and says, Ducky, OMG. Hi Jax, how are you? Welcome to the Saturday evening show with Ducky. Uh, it was like Riptide or something. Yeah, yeah, I think that's what it was called. But really I would be happy with any of the three. I think the Harvest looks really really cool. I think the Pit Viper is a very interesting design that I haven't seen anything like that before. But like I said, I really like the one that the Lifrix designed one. Just partied with the Georgia Flippers and I drank too much, but we vibing and I just ate dinner, but over all very good. Happy to be seeing you and Ducky. Glad to hear that you. It sounds like you had fun with the Georgia Flippers. So that's cool. Glad to hear you had a good dinner. And happy that you tuned in. I am doing very well. To answer your question, Shroom, I have nothing to complain about. I haven't had Ducky out in a little bit. But Ducky ate last weekend, and after anytime you feed a snake, so anybody doesn't know, you definitely want to make sure that they have some time to digest before you pick them up and handle them. Just like anytime if you have a new snake, you don't immediately start holding it. You leave it in its enclosure to kind of acclimate and get used to its environment for at least bare minimum, at least a week. Usually, you give them a couple weeks before you even attempt to hold them. But similarly, after you feed them, you want to make sure that they have a couple of days before you pick them up or anything. I usually give her about a week because I want to make sure that she doesn't, regurgitate any of her food. Because number one, I don't want to clean that up, and number two, she won't take another meal if she's had a meal. She won't take another meal for 2 weeks. Even if she, then regurgitates it back up, she still won't be interested in a meal for another 2 weeks. So that way, her meal is safe and yeah. So yeah, Shroom, I'm doing pretty good. Um, and Jack said I voted for the Riptide. Uh, is that the one that we were talking about? That's the one that I low key hope wins because they made the canvas, which I think is a goated 3D printed ballet, and because they make so many 3D printed things, because really they also made the Reppy, which which is also a free 3D printed Bally, but this one requires actual hardware. So I constructed mine with Kraken hardware, but uh, but yeah, they also theoretically should be able to make or provide files for you know um, spacers and different things to help further customize the Riptide if it comes to fruition. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping for that one to win just simply because yeah, the likelihood that I'll be able to 3D print accessories is pretty high, and that excites me. I came at a bad time. Be right back in 10 minutes. No problem, Jax. If we're still on, you're more than welcome back. Um, yeah, so like I said, today is not a well, this evening's is not a flipping stream because I have Ducky out and we do not flip with our pets out. But yeah, so I'm basically talking snakes right now and then talking the create with Nibalis uh you know like, I don't know, top three. So um but I can't think of anything else to tell you guys about Ducky. We've kind of explained the name. I've kind of explained her morph, why she is the color that she is. Don't know her weight, about 7 feet long. She is a boa constrictor. She's very, very chill. She likes to get into tight places, which is why I am standing right now and am not sitting down. Because anytime I am sitting in my chair and I have her out, she always goes into the mechanism that holds my headrest up, and that you anytime a snake gets into nooks and crannies like that, you can't just pull them back out because her scales. If you go this way, you're going with the scales, so it's real smooth. If you go this way, you're going against the scales, and when there is something real solid up against it, pulling a snake out against the scales not only can do some damage to the scales, but is also just going to be really, really hard. So I always have to be careful what I am around when I have her out because she likes to try to get into those nooks and crannies and make my life difficult. Is she venomous? No, she is not. If she was venomous, I would not be handling her. I would. Um, I would have Well, I wouldn't own her. I don't think if she was venomous, I don't think I could own her. But no, no, most snakes are not venomous. I don't know anything about snakes. LOL. Biggest snake I've ever seen is a garter snake. Okay. So something to know about snakes is, and it's not about snakes in general, but so ball pythons. Uh, which are also referred to as royal pythons because in various parts of the world, royalty used to drape them over their shoulders. So they are also called royal pythons, but ball pythons are called ball pythons because their defense mechanism is to ball up and with their head in the middle, so that nothing can hurt them, or they're less likely to be injured. Um, so I mean, most snakes, even rattlesnakes and stuff, most snakes aren't aggressive. They're the idea of biting something is most usually going to be their last resort. More often than not, their main interest is going to be getting away or hiding. Um, does she bite? She will bite her food, but unless she thinks that your food, I mean, she has absolutely no interest in biting. It's not like a defensive mechanism for her. Biting is solely to ingest food, and her food, albeit a large rat, is literally like maybe this big. So if she sees anything larger than this, significantly, like she could never look at me or even a toddler and think, I think I could eat that. It's just far too big. So nope, not really something that's super concerning. As far as biting goes, though, because she only eats every like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I don't handle her like every single day. I am cautious anytime I'm opening up her enclosure to pull her out to handle her because I don't want her to think, okay, every time this door opens, that means it's food. So I'm going to strike. So when I do pull her out, I always like when she's in her little rock thing, I'll take the top off the rock and I'll give her a second to kind of figure out what she wants to do, like if she wants to start slithering about or if she's just going to stay there. And if she's going to stay there, then I basically just rub my hand on her side so she feels that I'm there, which I never ever do if I'm feeding her. If I'm feeding her, she gets no contact from me whatsoever, other than the food near her face so that she can strike it. So I do that to make sure that she knows, hey, this is not feeding time. And then from there, I pull her out and just kind of keep her at arm's length while she kind of sniffs around the room. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's basically the process that I go through. When I'm pulling her out is just, you know, pet her side, pull her out, keep her kind of out a little bit. I don't immediately, try to drape her over my shoulders or anything like that. And then once she starts like calming down, because she'll like weave, around the room trying to sniff everything that she can. And then once that has kind of chilled out a little bit, then yeah, then I'll drape her over my shoulder and she'll just kind of chill. Like right now, I mean, her head is literally just resting on my shoulder, and I could put on a movie, and at the end of the movie, she'll still be like this. Some sassy pet snakes, just to be nippy though. Agreed. For example, garter snakes. I hate garter snakes. They are the meanest, most horrible snakes in the world. I'm sure that there are like really cute, really nice, really chill garter snakes, but garter snakes have like Chihuahua syndrome or something. Um, and I'm sure that there are, in fact, boas that are like that as well, and other snakes. But thankfully, none of the snakes that I have ever had have been. sassy. Have you seen that snake that hates Markiplier? I have heard about it, but my understanding is, it has a negative reaction to a thing, and then people keep doing that thing and capturing the negative reaction. And if you think about it, that's not really cool. Like for example, if every single time I put on, I don't know, some music and my snake started like just totally freaking out. Um, Me playing that music intentionally to elicit my snake freaking out would be me intentionally putting my snake in a very agitated state, and that's animal abuse. Unfortunately, that snake is very abused by its owner, and there's lots of lore around the that person abusing animals. Yeah, I thought that I had heard something along those lines. I don't know the details, but my understanding is yeah. Anytime if you as the pet owner know that there is going to be a adverse effect with your animal based on doing something and you knowingly do something to elicit that negative effect, that's not good. That's not good pet ownership right there. That snake is also the 2.0 of that snake. First one was also very abused. Gotcha. Um, all right. So I don't know if the lurker count is accurate or not. I can't trust YouTube counting these days. So we may just at this point have Burgundy and Shroom. Um, so I know Shroom, you know all of the animal answers. Named the snake. Wait, named the same thing and looked the same. It's very sad. That is very sad. Um, but yeah, Shroom, I know you know all of the things. Oh, Skull is still here too. Cool. So Burgundy, if you have any other questions, either about Ducky or about snakes in general, I actually did a real deep dive on reptiles for the most part. There was a point in time where we had two ball pythons, a boa, a bearded dragon, a crested gecko, and no, I'm sorry, two crested geckos and a leopard gecko. Um, Many of those have since been rehomed just simply because while they are all very, um, uh, what's the word? They are solitary creatures. They do not, like Ducky does not care that I'm holding Ducky right now. Ducky probably is happy with the fact that Ducky is out of her normal environment and is, able to, get some fresh air. But I mean, Ducky does not care that I am holding Ducky. If I pet Ducky, Ducky doesn't care about that. Jax is back. Welcome back. Um, Same goes with ball pythons. So long as they get food, that's really all they care about, food and water. They don't care if you ever hold them. You know, they don't form a real attachment with their owner. They exist. Very solitary. Um, so where was I going with that? Uh, where was I going with that? Crap. I don't remember why I went the solitary route. So anyway, when I pull Ducky out, Ducky gets to enjoy fresh air and all of that stuff. But your bearded acted more like a dog. Um, that's funny. My bearded was so boring. Like what was his name? Kimchi. My bearded dragon's name was Kimchi because my wife had sent me out to go get kimchi, and I came home with a bearded dragon. And so, to avoid getting in trouble, I named it Kimchi. So, I came home with kimchi. Um, True story. That's how my bearded dragon got named. But I remember where I was going with that. So yeah, I used to have a number of reptiles. They didn't care that I didn't spend much time with them. They all got fed, they all got water, they all got taken care of, and all that stuff. But um, I knew that there could be a better home for many of them where somebody could have that interaction and just make sure that they're individually taken care of much better than I would be taking care of this horde of reptiles. So I downsized my collection significantly. I kept Ducky. We kept originally we had two crested geckos. One of them, and we had gotten them from babies. Like I think we were supposed to get eggs to hatch, and when they were brought to us, they had literally hatched like a couple days prior. So they were like, I want to say like this big when I had gotten them. One of them just, it never thrived. It didn't eat. It didn't grow. And while I was trying to feed it, hand feed it, a high caloric uh, reptile mixture with a little syringe. It actually died in my hand. It was actually kind of sad. The other one though we still have. So we have a crested gecko named Bones. We kept Ducky, and reptile wise, that's it. We had a ball python that was mine, whose name was Snaky, and we had a ball python who was my wife's that was named Pyrite. We called him Pie. And then what was the leopard gecko's name was Cuddles. Yeah. Um, I had that happen with some mice. I had it suck when they die in your hands. Yeah, it is a bummer. What's going on, Brian? How are we doing today? Welcome to the late night stream where I'm chilling with Ducky. I had what the heck is up, yo? So my granddaughter is staying the night, and she asked if I would bring Ducky out. And people on the server have been asking when the next Ducky stream was going to be. So I got to go now. It's been nice hanging. Okay, bye, Shroom. Have a great rest of the weekend. So I reached out on the server and said, hey, is anybody interested in a Ducky stream? Because you guys have been asking, and people said, yeah, absolutely. So that's what we're doing. We've been going for about 35-ish, 33-ish minutes. So I don't know how much longer this is going to go. I can ramble on for as long as you guys want me to, but um, yeah. How are you doing, Brian? I don't know if my I have not gotten any word on shipping of my Gaivo yet, so I do not know if I will have the new Gaivo by next weekend or not. But like I said, if I do, I will definitely bring it with me. You're doing good. I'm glad to hear it. I am glad to hear it. What are you doing, Ducky? Just chilling. What kind of snake is Ducky? Yeah, so Ducky is a boa constrictor, um, which are usually like a jungle pattern. So like a darker tan would be what is normally, or what is yellow on Ducky would be like a darker tan, and the orange parts would be like a darker brown, typically. But Ducky is a sunglow morph, so that means she is both albino and I believe it is hypomalnistic, which is a form of albinism also. So she's like a double albino. And because of that, she is, yellow and orange. And right here, you can see it's upside down, but you can see what looks like a kind of like the side profile of a geometric duck right here, and not so much right there. But when I was trying to figure out a name for her, she was slithering down my arm, and I had seen like a row of like four or five of those what looked like ducks, like right here and right here. And I just saw a line of ducks, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be Ducky," and that's how Ducky got her name. But yeah, she is a Ducky is a double shiny. Yep, basically. And she is, man, let me see if I can pull up when I got her so I can tell you roughly, as best I can guess, how old she is. Um, so Ducky, I got her. Yeah, I think that was the first photo I have of her. Yep. So Ducky was gotten in February of 23. So Ducky is probably, if I had to guess, 4 or 5 years old. So with a life expectancy of 30-ish years, Ducky's probably got another 25 years to go if I had to guess and everything works out well. Because snakes live a long life. Yeah, so 30. Wow, did not know that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, snakes tend to live a pretty long life. Interestingly, like the other thing is they don't ever stop growing. Their growth slows down significantly once they hit like their typical size. And she's at her typical size. She's probably just shy of 7 feet long. So over time, she'll continue to grow and get bigger, but not very much bigger than she is right now. Probably millimeters at a time, as opposed to growing inches, at a time. And snakes don't eat nearly as much as you would expect. And interestingly, the larger ones uh, eat less than the smaller ones. So Ducky, being about 7 feet long, she eats typically every other week, but sometimes she'll go 3 or 4 weeks, without food. It's offered, but she isn't interested. Um, yeah, so as opposed to like a dog that has a much shorter lifespan and has to, eat and be taken care of, on a daily basis. Ducky does not care if I ever hold her. Um, she just, I need to make sure her water is always full and change it out every now and then. She needs to be, misted because she has to have some humidity in her environment. But food wise, yeah, every other week I'll offer her a frozen thawed, um, meaning it's not a live rat, but a frozen thawed live or a large rat, and that's what she eats every other week. Yeah. All right, we're probably going to start wrapping things up though, because I think I have given all of my ducky information that I can think to provide. That's pretty cool. I did not know all that about snakes. Yeah, snakes are pretty neat. They're not in no way, shape, or form are they like slimy or slippery or anything like that. Um, they're yeah, they're really cool and really chill. She has never like struck at me or anything like that. Only thing she strikes is her food. And in all honesty, she doesn't even always do that. Sometimes I'll put the food in front of her face and she'll just sniff it and not be interested. And I will put it on a rock that it is in her enclosure, and then she'll come up to it later and just very gently open her mouth and just start eating it, like without coiling around it or anything. Um, which is typically how constrictors, eat is they constrict and then eat. And sometimes, there have been times where I've just laid the rat on a rock in her enclosure, and she'll just, later go up to it and just open her mouth and start eating it, as opposed to whoa, as opposed to constricting around it. Yeah. So So we'll probably get things wrapped up here pretty soon. I guess before I do, though, because we do have some lurkers, which is totally cool as always. Despite the fact that we're not flipping battle songs, I still love my lurkers. But I'll give you guys a minute in case you have any questions that I haven't answered with regards to uh, snakes in general or Ducky specifically, or I mean, Balisong stuff. We were talking about the crate with Nibalis a little bit, but you know, let me know if you guys have any questions or have any thoughts or anything like that. Otherwise, we'll probably get things wrapped up. It was fun hanging out with Scott and Ducky. Take it easy, man. Hope to see you soon. Yeah, absolutely. Have yourself a great rest of the night. Have yourself a great weekend. For everybody else, as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Wasn't really planning on doing a second stream this evening, but I knew that a number of people had asked when they were going to see Ducky again, so I wanted to get that opportunity out there while I had her out. So thanks for stopping in. I really appreciate it, everybody. But for the time being, I think we're going to get things wrapped up. Um, no questions from me. Hope you have a blessed night, man, and can't wait to talk again. Excellent. All right. Well, for the time being, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for saying hi, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Love you.